evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Today, we're going to be doing a different interpretation on Shaddolls, mainly because I just wanted to play something different. In no way, shape, or form, this deck is better than the Denko Sekka route that you guys see, or the Chaos route. I just really wanted to show you guys a different way to play Shaddolls, the way that I would prefer to play Shaddolls, because I actually like playing back row, and I feel that it's more of a stun deck than an OTK type deck. This is... I don't really know what to call it. I'll just call it Majesty's Fiend Shaddolls. And basically, we have a better matchup against Rogue. We already have an infinitely good matchup against Burning Abyss, but this even makes it better. I would say that this would be a better deck for a local level when you're playing against nothing but a whole bunch of randoms, and then, you know, a lot of players tend to favor Burning Abyss over Clifford. So with that being said, this is my synopsis of it. I really would take this to a local or regional event. Hell, I'll even take it to YCS, just because you do see a lot more Burning Abyss than Clifford. But let's get down to the deck profile. We're running 3 copies of Majesty's Fiend, 2 copies of Shaddoll Beast, 1 copy of BLS, 3 copy of Mathematician, 2 Squamata, 2 Dragon, 2 Shaddoll Hedghog, 2 Shaddoll Falcon, Denko Sekka, Felice, and Global. That's going to sum up monsters. For spells, we're going to run 3 Shaddoll Fusion, 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 Shaddoll Fusion, Foolish Burial, Snatch Steal, and Raigeki. It's going to sum up spells. For traps, we're going to run 3 copies of Sinister Shadow Games, 2 Chains, 2 Trap Stuns, Solemn Warning, Compulse, and Shaddoll Core. For the extra deck, on our Fusion side, 3 Construct, 2 Winda, and 1 Shekinaga. For the Synchros, Star Eater, Crimson Blader, Arcanite Magician, Black Rose Dragon, Yazi, Goyo, and Armades. And for the Exceeds will be Castel and Diagusto Emeral. Now, I'm just going to break down the monsters first and foremost. There's a couple of things that you guys see that I would probably say, I would even question myself, which is, why are you playing 2 copies of Shaddoll Falco? Really, 1 is only needed. Well, this deck runs a little different than the run-on-the-mill Chaos Shaddoll, Denko Shaddolls. The reason why Falco is played at 2 is because it is an amazing tribute fodder. It puts monsters on the board for us to actually sacrifice to summon Majesty's Fiend. For example, if I have 2 Shaddoll monsters and a Majesty's Fiend in my hand, also paired with the Fusion, one of the Fusion cards, I can fuse the Shaddoll Falcon and the second Shaddoll monster to make Winda. Shaddoll Falcon's effect activates to special summon itself face down defense position. Next, I would tribute the Shaddoll Falco to normal summon Majesty Fiend, and that is one of the premier plays of the deck, having a Winda preventing your opponent to special summon twice and also negating all monster effects, period. It's just amazing. The only thing that Majesty doesn't really stop is continuous effects, which is great for Winda's side, preventing your opponent from special summoning more than once. So in theory, your opponent really can't make monsters to get over Shaddoll Winda, because they don't have any, they don't have a way to exceed summon. They would need to normal summon twice and then overlay, which most decks don't do. And even then, they couldn't activate monsters effects when they did. So that really slims up the equation, allowing only making the opponent play certain cards to get over this type of combo. More often than not, it wins you the game. Sometimes you can't have that route, which is perfectly fine. Construct is a card. You would special summon Construct to your side of the field. Construct sends Falco. Falco special summons itself, and then you can tribute for Majesty's Fiend that way. You're going to more often than not find yourself tributing for Majesty's Fiend, and it's going to win you a lot of games, just summoning it to your side of the field, locking out of your opponent's monster's effects. Next is obviously the Majesty's Fiend, which I've already told you about. I do run 1 copy of Denko Sekka just because it's a really, really good card. And even though I do play back row, all except for one of my back row cards can be activated whenever I feel like it. The only card that can't be is Solemn Warning. So, I mean, more often than not, when we're setting that card, we're probably securing the game or stopping an opponent's crucial summon. So Denko is just really good for being able to go off with your plays. Sometimes I want to have Denko, Majesties, and Window on the field, and if I get that lucky and Saki, then not really much the opponent can do, period. Felice is really good. Makes Arcanite Magician, makes Yazi, makes Black Rose. I mean, I just feel Felice is just a highly underrated card. If at the very worst, pitch it for a Fusion, special summon Construct sends whatever, and then go into your plays. It's just a really, really good card. When I do draw it, like I said, I wind up fusing with it. Glow Bulb is actually, I feel that it's another great target for Majesty's Fiend. We mill the top card from our decks to the graveyard, special summon global, tribute it for Majesty and Fiend if all else fails. Typically I am synchro summoning with it. I'm sending it with Mathematician, activating its effect, special summoning it, and then doing a whole bunch of wacky plays from there. But it's just a really nice card to have in the deck, especially when you can abuse it, making Shekinaga and such plays. The monsters are just really solid. The only monsters that I really wanted to play was an extra Denko Sekka. Just a really good card, and maybe a third Shaddoll Beast, because a lot of builds do play 3 Shaddoll Beasts, and it's a really good card. I feel that I don't necessarily need 3 Shaddoll Beasts, is because I can abuse it while in the graveyard, unlike the other Shaddoll builds, but still, it's still really nice to have 3. As for spells, the 3 Shaddoll Fusion are standard. The 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, we don't need 3. We have Dragon. We have other ways to destroy the opponent's spells and traps. I want to run 3 copies of L Shaddoll Fusion. If I would have dropped Raigeki for it, but so far everything's been really good. L Shaddoll Fusion is just another one of those great cards in this game. The biggest reason why I run 3 is because there's times where I have Majesties and Winda on my board per se. I can set the L Shaddoll Fusion, and if my opponent were to get over my combo, I can just L Shaddoll Fusion and fuse both the Majesty's Fiend and the Winda to make a Construct play. And then furthermore, Construct destroys that special summon monster that they just special summoned to the field that would got over my Winda or my Majesty's Fiend, and it sends a card to the graveyard. Then I can abuse the fact that Winda is in the graveyard, or Winda is in the graveyard, and add a Shaddoll Fusion to my hand. It just really creates that one-sided play that I can use my effect monsters whenever I want to. The only thing I have to do is reveal my L Shaddoll Fusion, and I'm back into the game. Snatch Steal is really good in here just because a lot of rogue decks tend to play a lot of dark, light, or earth monsters. So we Snatch Steal that monster, and then we fuse with it, or we attack with it, do whatever we want, and then yeah, it's just about it. As the very worst, more often than not, you can synchro summon it with it, since I do run a level 2 tuner, a level 4 tuner, and a level 1 tuner, so I'll find a way to, you know, make good use of the monster that I stole. Raigeki is just really good to clear boards, especially if your opponent goes double Dante, Vanity's Fiend. That's one of the harder combos. One of the spell cards I do miss also, other than the 3rd L Shaddoll Fusion, I was playing the Monarch Stormforth. The Monarch Stormforth was really good just because it helped me tribute my opponent's monsters for Majesty's Fiend. Monarch Stormforth, as you know, is one of the best cards in the game. It's just really good being able to get rid of an opponent's monster, a situational monster that I personally probably couldn't get rid of, and then summon Majesty's Fiend. The reason why I dropped it is because, I normally have tribute fodder for Majesty's Fiend, and if I don't, I'll fuse with it. For traps, 3 Sinister Shadow Game is very important in this deck. The reason why a lot of players run 2, which is perfectly fine, is that they don't have enough targets to send. Well, I want to actually abuse my flip effects, especially El Shaddoll Falcon on my opponent's end phase. For example, if I have Shaddoll Falco face down on my side of the field, and my opponent ends their turn, I can flip up Sinister Shadow Games, send Shaddoll Beast, flip up Shaddoll Falcon, and then special summon the Shaddoll Beast and draw a card. Then following on my turn, I can flip up the Shaddoll Beast and draw 2 more cards, discard 1, and synchro summon into an Arcanite, Black Rose, or Yazi, depending on what I see. There's also a couple other plays I can make beyond that, but that involves other cards. But I just felt that 3 Sinister Shadow Games was really important for making those Falco type plays. I can abuse Shaddoll Beast better than other Shaddoll players because I do run 3 copies of Sinister Shadow Games and 2 copies of Falco, which really gives me an edge in certain matchups. Fiendish Chain is just Fiendish Chain. It's really not much else to see about it. Even though I do run 3 copies of Majesty's Fiend, I think that Fiendish Chain is still really good to this game. I'm stuck between that or Breakthrough Skill or just dropping Effect Negation because I do have Majesty's Fiend for either spells or traps. It doesn't really matter, but Fiendish Chain ultimately is a solid card. The trap stems are going to take really a piece of what Denko Sekka used to be in this deck, and then just allow me to still do that same concept while also playing back row at the same time. Being able to negate my opponent's traps, floodgates, whatever, go off on my play, and then destroy their cards or do whatever I please, really gives me the edge in certain games. Solemn and Compulse are pretty obvious. No Bottomless. I just really prefer the Shaddoll Core over it. Shaddoll Core is just so amazing in here. Being able to regain L Shaddoll Fusion or a Shaddoll Fusion back to your hand. In the Clip Fort matchup, more often than not, I flip with that Shaddoll Fusion, I normal summon or I special summon Global to my side of the field, and I make Star Eater, which gets over towers if whoever wants to play that still. Ultimately, Shaddoll Core just has so many uses. Even still, just another tribute fodder for Majesty's Fiend. So I practically have all of my tribute fodder cards already in the deck built in just in case if I wanted to summon Majesty's Fiend to negate my opponent's monster's effects. Constructs are pretty standard. Windas are pretty standard. Shekinaga I probably would lean towards playing too. I've never really needed to, but I can see times where, you know, I would need to, just because it's a really good card and I run 4 Earth monsters for it. But so far, one is just perfect. Had there become a format where Shekinaga becomes really good, then I can find a way to squeeze 2 in here. Star Eater, like I said, is for getting over Clifford. Crimson Blader is replaced all other level 8s in my opinion. Is the best level 8 synchro to go into. Arcanite Magician just makes a lot of splash plays, especially with Global in the deck, you know, off the Forbidden list. Yazi is extremely good against the BA matchup. If you guys did not notice, I do not run Leo. I'm completely taking him out just because he's so hard to summon first, and Yazi pretty much does that job, and it's easier to summon. Goyo's in there because his Goyo, Armades is in there because Armades wins games. For the XAs, for the exception of Castel, so you guys get an extra slot to play with. I chose Diagusto Emeral just to recycle cards, but you guys can really play whatever you want. I mean, more often than not, you're not XA summoning, but it's always a nice option to have. You're going to need it one day, and the day that you do need it, you'll use it. So that's pretty much it. This is my synopsis on a different way to play Shaddolls. It's really good against Rogue. It's really good against the mirror match, you know, the Denko Sekka players. It's extraordinary well against Burning Abyss. Just like any other time, you have a hard matchup against Clifford, but that's a given no matter what. Normally, you should probably sideboard to address it because you're going to lose game 1 regardless. Well, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy.